Hello everyone, happy Tuesday. It's time for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. This is Lena Gersa. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Cambridge, Ontario, Canada. And today I am so excited to share with you 3 fabulous projects made using products from the Peaceful Place suite from the Stampin' Up! July-December catalog, also known as the Holiday Mini. Much easier to say. So today, as I mentioned, we're going to do 3 projects. I have a little faker shaker card to show you, a fun and easy fun fold, and then a really cool, just basic card that uses the dies a little bit differently. So we're going to get to that in just a minute. I'm just going to give some time for people to join. And while we're waiting, I wanted to talk for just a moment about the joining special that's on right now. Now, we only have about a week. Actually, we have exactly a week left in this special. And if you have ever considered joining Stampin' Up, whether to start your own business or just to get a discount on your own crafting supplies, now is the time to do it. The starter kit almost never, well, it never goes on sale. Often there is product value added to the kit, but it never is reduced in price. In 11 and a half years as a demonstrator, I don't ever remember the price being lowered on the starter kit. But that's exactly what's happening during this promotion. So in Canada here, our starter kit is normally $135, and in that kit, you get to choose $165 worth of product of your choice. In addition to that, you'll receive a free past paper pumpkin kit and all of the business supplies, including catalogs that you need to get started as a demonstrator. Now, during this promotion, that $135 kit is only $100. You still get $165 worth of product of your choice. You still get a paper pumpkin kit. You still get all your business supplies, but you're only paying $100 instead of $135. Now, in most provinces in Canada, on top of that, there is no tax charged and there's no shipping. So you're getting $165 worth of product and a free paper pumpkin kit for $100 delivered to you out the door. It doesn't get any better than that, let me tell you. And the best part, well, I don't know what the best part about being a demonstrator is. There are so many perks, but the biggest one for me is that I get to meet people from all over the world. Doing these Facebook Lives, I've got people watching from all over, and it's so cool to be able to create and share creativity with people all over the globe. Now, there are lots of other perks as well. The biggest one being the discount on product and getting to order new product a month before it goes live to the general customer base. So those are some pretty big perks, but I also have a really awesome Stamping Symphony team. We are a fantastic group of crafters who are so warm and welcoming, and just we do so many things together, and I absolutely love these women. So if you have ever considered whether or not it might be right for you, I would love to chat with you about it. Doesn't matter where in Canada you are. I have Stamping Symphony members from Alberta all the way through to the East Coast. So we do all of our events virtually, and we connect via Zoom and through Facebook. So if that is something that might appeal to you, you have a week to think about it, but don't think too long because this promotion ends a week from today. Okay. All right, let's get to some stamping. I'm going to pull my video up on my iPad and see who is watching. All right, we've got Jackie and Brenda. Hi, Linda. Hi, Deb. Hi, Brenda from London. How are you? It's nice to see you. All right, we are going to get to it. Oh, I just realized I forgot to turn off notifications on my phone because I just saw a text come through. So I'm going to do that right now so we don't end up with any more interruptions. And hi, Krista. I'm going to flip the phone and we're going to get to it. Okay, here we go. All right, that looks pretty good. Hi, Judy. Hi, Susan from Pickering. Thanks for joining us. Hi, Grace. All right, so here is part of the Peaceful Place suite. There are several products in this suite that we're not going to use today, but I'm going to highlight the ones that we are, okay? So, of course, we have the fabulous bundle. The stamp set is called Peaceful Cabin. has beautiful imagery and sentiments that are not Christmas specific, okay? Which makes this a really versatile stamp set and awesome for doing those kinds of cards that we often don't like to do, namely masculine cards. We all like flowers and butterflies. Coming up with cards for the men in our lives can be a challenge, but this is a great set for that. And of course we have coordinating dies. These are available in a bundle. And the dies are so cool because we can cut out the stamped image, or we can cut out detailed images. And we're actually going to use this detailed cabin die today. Same thing with this one. We can cut out the stamped trees, or we can cut detailed trees. There's actually two, well, technically 3 tree dies, because this one cuts the stamped trees. If we couple it with the detailed trees, then we can get detailed die cut trees, and then we get these little guys as well. So lots of tree options there. Of course, we all of these have a snowdrift kind of effect, and they layer really nicely one on top of the other. This one is designed to cut out our little fox. We've got a fence and we've got some snow. So awesome, awesome bundle in this suite. And then of course we have the gorgeous designer paper. Now I can't get enough of this paper. In fact, I don't even have a full sheet of this bottom pattern because I've used so much of it. But it is fantastic. It all has silver foil on one side, and then the reverse side has great sort of neutral pattern. So here we go. This is it looks kind of like rainfall or snow. And then on the back, we've got some little cabins. This one is perfect for making card fronts. Cut it in half and then cut it into your card fronts, and you get some awesome, quick and easy. We're actually going to use this in a little bit. And then on the back, we just have a gray stripe. Here we have a silver foil wood grain, and on the reverse, some trees. This one is just a snowflake pattern with that silver foiling. This one has gorgeous, gorgeous gray buffalo check. I love this pattern. We're going to use that today too. This one is actually cuts 4, or it includes 4 6x6 panels that would be great for decor pieces or to create card fronts. And then again on the back we have some trees, and then this one again, use this bottom panel to create tree scenes, and this top you've got some more snowflakes. So just beautiful. And then a diamond check pattern on the back. So this paper is fabulous. Now it was on back order. I'm not sure if it's back in stock yet. If it's not, keep checking. I'm sure it will be in stock soon. It has been a popular one. And then of course we have these gorgeous sequins. Now these I'm sure are on back order unless they have come in the last day or so. But we have these subtle shimmer sequins, and we're going to use those for our shaker card. So that's just a sampling of the products in the suite. As I said, there are others that we're not going to use today, but those are the ones that we are going to be playing with. So let's get to some stamping. Hi Judith. Hi Bonnie. So this one is what we sometimes call a faker shaker, because it seems like it's sort of cheating because it's so easy to make. But the nice thing about this particular style of shaker card is that it's quite flat, so it mails much more easily than a traditional shaker, which ends up being quite thick. So I'm going to show you how to make this. It is crazy easy, especially because the designer paper does most of the work in this one. So to start, I have a piece of that beautiful DSP. This is the one that has the 2 rows of trees that you can cut into card front. So this is cut to 4 by 5 1/4 inches. And then I have here one of our clear envelopes. These are available in the catalog on the same page as our regular white and vanilla envelopes. And what I'm going to do is just slide that piece of designer paper into my little envelope. And I just want to make sure that it's right in one of the corners, okay? You're going to see how the envelope is wider than that panel. That's okay. We're going to fix that in a minute. So with our DSP inside, we're going to take some of our subtle shimmer sequins, and I have my cute little dollar store scoop here. Every time I use this on camera, I get a million questions about where I got it. Here in Canada, we have a store called Diorama. And I got this years ago. It's actually meant for use with beads, but I picked them up because I thought they'd be great for scooping little embellishments like this. Okay, so I put a fair bit in there. You can put more, you can put less. It's up to you. I like my shakers to be quite full. I just like the look of that, and I especially love the look of the shimmer sequins here. So I'm going to put the lid on that because if I don't, I'll probably spill them everywhere. So I've got my sequins kind of in one corner of my little envelope here. So what I'm going to do is peel off the backing to seal my envelope. So I'm going to fold this over so that it folds right tight to my DSP. Okay, so it's right tight along the top. Then what I'm going to do is take some seal. You could do this with tear and tape as well. And I'm going to apply some tape right along the edge of my DSP and then fold that excess bit of envelope back to create a nice snug pocket for my shaker. And that's it. Like, how easy is that? So easy. All right, now I wanted to set this off a little bit with some Smoky Slate cardstock. So this is cut to 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So we're gonna go ahead and layer our, oh, look at that. I bent my corner. We gotta fix that. That's gonna bug me. We want our corners to be straight. Let's fix that. There we go. That's better. Don't want to fold a corner on our shaker. Okay, so that is going to get glued to that Smoky Slate panel, just with some, whatever you've got. I like to use tape when I'm using these envelopes, just because I like to make sure that it's quite secure. The liquid glue takes quite some time to dry, to set up when you're using it with the cellophane like this. So tape is probably your best bet for this one. So we're gonna go ahead and layer that on our Smoky Slate panel. You're gonna see just a narrow little border. It's just a 1/16 of an inch border all the way around. Okay. Then I have a this is literally the last, what is it, like 14 inches maybe of sheer real red ribbon that is in my studio right now. I have some on order, but I'm hoping to get enough out of this little scrap here to finish this card because I love this ribbon and I don't want to swap it out for a different one. So we're going to just apply a glue dot to either end of our little piece of ribbon here. I just cut that to about 4.5 inches. And we're going to lay that across the front of our panel and just wrap the ends around and adhere them. Okay, hopefully that's relatively straight. All right. Okay, next we're going to go ahead and glue that onto our card base. So we have a basic gray card base. It is 5.5 by 8.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. So we're going to go ahead and fold that in half along our score line, crisp that up with our bone folder, and then we are going to adhere our shaker to the front of the card. So simple. So we'll just add a little bit of adhesive. Oh, my seal is not cooperating today. There are a lot of things in my life that are not cooperating today. I'll just mention that. It's been quite the day. Do you ever have days where you just kind of go, okay, what else can I screw up today? Yeah, that's kind of how today has been. So stay tuned. You never know. This could be a rocky ride here today. Okay, so I have my shaker adhered to my card base, and look at how awesome that looks. Look, it looks like a snow flurry inside my little scene there. All right, so now we are going to work on our greeting. So I have here a circle. It is, what, 2 inches, I believe? And we are going to stamp our greeting from the Peaceful Cabin stamp set. It says, may you enjoy the peace of this beautiful season. We're going to stamp it in some basic gray ink. My basic gray is getting a little dry, so we'll see. This may look a little bit light for basic gray, but yeah, it is a bit on the light side, but that's okay. And then I'm going to bring in my little snow stamp here and just add a little bit of snow around my greeting. You know me and my philosophy around no naked greetings. So there we go. Okay. It is, Jackie, a really easy thing, and it's a really cool card. And it's great to mail for the holidays. All right, so I have here this gorgeous die cut. So this is cut, I forgot to show you these sheets, but we have this specialty silver foil pack. So you get 3 different sheets. There are 3 different silver finishes in the pack, and I think this is my favorite. It's really dark, and it is brushed. So it has some nice texture to it. So what we're going to do is adhere our sentiment sort of centered on that label. Now, before we do, we have some die cut trees. These are cut using the cabin dies. So I'm going to start by putting my tallest tree right along the edge of my little sentiment here, and I'm missing my Tombow. Where is my Tombow? There it is. I borrowed it and didn't put it back. All right, let's put a little bit of glue on here, and we're just gonna pop that right on the edge of our label. Okay, then we're going to go ahead and add our sentiment. Okay, we're gonna pop that up with a couple of dimensionals. Hi Jill, thanks so much for sharing. I really appreciate it. Hope you are well. I don't know what it's like where you guys are, but here we've had snow off and on all day. It's quite chilly. The sun has been shining in between, but certainly in the shade where there is no sun, the snow is sticking. So winter, it is coming, sadly. I'd be okay if it were fall forever. All right, so we have a medium-sized tree here. This is cut from the same foil as our label. So we're gonna add a little bit of glue to that, just a little dab. Don't need much for this one. And we're gonna layer that on top of our silver tree. And then we have this little guy that is going to get layered just to the edge. Whoops, that guy's not sticking. Come on, stick. That one's going to get layered just off to the edge of our circle. And to do that, we are going to add some mini dimensionals. So what I tend to do when I am working with these is cut them in half so that they fit easily on these little teeny die cuts and don't peek out from behind. All right, this one is not cooperating. It's not sticky enough. I think it was used. So let's just do a new set. So we're just going to take, and I'm going to cut up. So I'm cutting my mini dimensionals in half, and that creates these smaller pieces that fit really easily behind these small detailed die cuts. So we'll just get rid of our backings, and we're going to pop this on just to the left of our label, just like that. Okay, so we have a little stand of trees at the side of our label. So then that is going to get adhered to the front of our card. Now, if you're mailing this, you'll want to glue this flat because we've already done one layer of pop. However, if you are hand delivering this, you could certainly pop it up, which is what I'm going to do because I can and because I love dimensionals. So I'm just going to add a couple of these here. Hi, Claire. Thanks for joining us. So let's pop this on. Get rid of that backing. And I'm going to put this on so that my ribbon kind of runs behind my trees, right about there. And then I'm going to take this last little bitty scrap of real red sheer ribbon and tie a bow. I was nervous that I wouldn't have enough, but I think we'll be okay. It may take some finagling to get a bow out of this little bit, but oh, there we go. We got it. Once you get it started, you're good. It's just getting that little loop through to form your bow, and then it's just a matter of playing with it a little bit. So we'll pull that nice and snug. Pretty bow, which is why I have now none of this ribbon left in my studio. So we're going to go ahead and add a glue dot to the back of our bow, and then that is going to get adhered just in the corner of our label like that. All right, isn't that pretty? Such a simple card, and again, like, the only stamping is the sentiment. The beautiful sequins and the DSP do all the work on this card. Now I'll just show you quickly what I did on the inside of my sample here. I stamped some of the trees, added another sentiment and some more snowflakes, and that's that. Really pretty holiday card. All right, so that is number one. I'm gonna set this aside. I have too much mess here, too much stuff on my desk. All right, so the next one we're going to work on is this one. Now, this one I haven't posted yet. It'll post tomorrow. However, I wanted to show you, showcase this beautiful detailed cabin die. So there are a few things that you can do with this, but I'm going to show you how I am worked out this little sort of scene. Okay, so first of all, this background here is die cut using the layering diorama dies. Okay, those are in the annual catalog. And so what I did is I cut one using one from the DSP and then the next size up from Basic White. Okay, so that gives me my backdrop. Then what I did is I cut one solid cabin. So what I had done is I cut 2 more of this size of the diorama. So you'll see that layers on there just like that. Okay. And then I went ahead and cut 1 plain cabin. Okay. So that's that. And then I did a second one. So another piece just like that. And from this one, I cut the detailed cabin. Now on the back of my detailed cabin, I have already added adhesive sheets to make it really easy to layer over top, just like that. Okay, now you'll see here I've got some color behind this. I'm going to show you how I did that. So we're actually going to use some Stampin' Blends to add our color. Now you'll notice that here on the windows, I wanted to kind of have like a warm fire glowing in the cabin. So I wanted to have a little bit of yellow glowing in the windows. So what I did is I actually layered my die cut over top of, so my detailed die cut over top of the solid one. And I just kind of marked approximately where the windows were with a pencil. Okay, that way, when I go to color my image, I'm going to use my light So Saffron just to color that little section where the windows are. Okay, the rest of this I'm going to color with my light Smoky Slate. So I'm just taking the brush tip of my blends and I'm just kind of running it all over. I'm not being super careful about blending. I am just coloring all the rest of the image. Okay, now you could certainly do this by cutting just a solid colored cardstock to put behind it, but I wanted to add that little bit of a yellow glow, and I just love the look of it done with blends. It's just a little bit softer than using regular cardstock. Okay, so we've got that colored. So you'll see when I layer that over top that you get the nice glowing yellow coming from the windows. Okay, so now we are going to go ahead and peel off our adhesive sheets. This is always a challenge to get started, so we're actually going to use Take Your Pick. I find the Take Your Pick quite handy when your fingernails are not cooperating. So we'll just peel that off. The adhesive sheets do come in strips, so you'll find when you go to peel them off, you have to kind of take off several bits at once. We got this guy here, get rid of that. And then we have one more bit that starts up here somewhere. There it is. We'll get rid of that. Okay, so then it's just a matter of carefully layering the 2 images. So we're going to start up at the chimney and kind of work our way down. Now the tricky part is that this does stick to your fingers, so you have to kind of be patient and kind of nudge it into place as you want it to look. Okay, so there is, that should be a little bit higher there. I don't like the way that's sitting, so let's peel this back a bit and get that on straight. There we go. We should have a little bit of a snowdrift there. Okay, so there is our layered cabin. So the dies do all the work on this particular card. So now we're going to go ahead and build our scene, okay? So then I can layer my cabin right along the bottom edge of my die cut DSP. So that's going to get glued on there. And we can do that just with a little bit of liquid glue. So we'll add that. And I think, I'm just looking here, I think I forgot to cut another white layer for behind my DSP. So we're going to do that as soon as we get this guy glued on. Okay, so there is our scene. Then we're going to grab just another piece. I've got a piece of basic white here. And I've got my layering diorama dies. So this one is the same size as this. Nope, is that the one that's going to layer behind there? I always have to double check. Yeah, so you see how that's the next size up? It's going to layer just like that. So we're going to go ahead and die cut that. Bring in our big boy. Now sadly this big die will not fit in my mini, which happens to be right here. So we're going to bring in the big boy. And we're just going to run this through to die cut our white layer. So I have my platform. I have my thin die adapter. I have my bottom plate. Whoops, let's get that on there. I have my die, and I have my top plate. Now this is actually a top plate that has been used as a bottom plate, but we'll use it with as is for now. So we're gonna roll that through, and there is our white layer. So let's go ahead and add that. Get this guy out of the way. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and layer our DSP onto that white layer. I just like having that white layer behind it because I feel like it sets it off nicely. So we're just gonna add a little bit of adhesive there. You are right, Debbie, you do not have much wiggle room. However, the adhesive sheets are great for not making you want to pull your hair out when you're trying to adhere detailed die cuts. They are kind of my go-to. I'm kind of addicted to the adhesive sheets, to be honest. All right, so then I have a piece of that gorgeous DSP. It has the snowflake pattern on one side and the basic gray, or gray and smoky slate, I guess, buffalo check on the other. So we're gonna go ahead and layer that. So again, I'm just gonna use a bit of liquid glue because it's handy. There we go. Okay, now on my original, I'll just show you, I did add a layer of white. Well, I just used that layer of white to die cut my background piece. So we're not gonna worry about adding the extra layer of white on this one. Just so you know, this measures 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, okay? The DSP is 4 by 5 1/4. And then our card base is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. Okay, so we'll just fold that in half, first of all. And we're going to add our DSP, but look at the difference, just to give you an idea of why I add so many layers to my cards. People go, oh, you had so many layers. Well, it's because it makes a difference. So here is my original that has the white layer behind the DSP. Here is the one that I'm going to make right now because I don't have another piece of white. So can you see the difference? Doesn't this just stand out that much more than this? It really does matter. So that is why I like my layers. Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. All right, let's add a bit of adhesive here. And we'll pop this onto the front of our card. Just like that. All right. Oh, Deb, you're right. I forgot the trees. Oh my God. Remember, guys, how I said, like, what else can I screw up today? Well, this is it. I forgot to die cut the trees. There they are. Well, you want to see how to die cut trees? You're going to learn. My goodness. This is a gong show today, you guys. Some days you just kind of have to shake your head and laugh. Now the question is, where is my silver foil? Should be right here. There it is. All right. Here we go. Gonna cut us some trees. Thanks for pointing that out, Deb. Yeah, I like the extra layer of white too, Krista. It really does make a big difference. All right, so let's get these out of the way. We're gonna cut us some trees and then we're gonna finagle them in behind our cabin. Okay guys, so here you go. This is your lesson on how to fix your mistakes, okay? I've actually had people message me and tell me how much they appreciate that I show how to fix mistakes. And my response is always, if there's a mistake to be made, I have made it. So there's always a way to fix it. All right. Sometimes you just gotta kind of shake your head and go, whatever. All right, so for this one, I'm actually gonna use my mini because it's easier. It's smaller, takes up less space. I got my plates here. So I have my plate 1. I have my cutting plate. I have my silver foil. And then I have my detailed tree. So let me just quick show you how these go together on my cutting plate here. Okay, so I'm going to put my detailed trees, they kind of interlock with the die. Okay, so they're going to kind of go in like that. We're going to put our other cutting plate on top and we're going to run her through the machine. So let's just move this over and we'll cut those guys out. Yep, Krista, that's what you got to do. You got to go with the flow. That's kind of been the way my day has gone. It's just kind of been, okay, whatever. It started with the snow this morning and traffic, and then, okay, get this. So the Tim Hortons that I go to every morning to get my coffee on the way to work, I pulled in the drive-thru. There were 2 other cars in front of me in the drive-thru, and we're sitting there, and we're sitting there, and we're sitting there, and we're sitting there. And then I see the car at the front drive away, and I'm like, what the heck? So the next car pulls up, we're sitting there, and then that car pulls away. And then I look over at the store, and I realize that the restaurant is closed. Tim Hortons never closes, to my credit, okay? So, or in my defense, I should say. And for some reason, my Tim Hortons that I go to every single day was closed. So there you go. All right, there are my trees. Okay, so we're gonna pop out all our bits, get rid of all these little bad boys here. And we are gonna finagle and tuck these in behind our cabin so that we actually have some trees in our scene. So what I'm probably gonna have to do is cut these guys off, bring in my treeless card here, and we're gonna tuck some trees in behind our cabin. So this little guy is gonna go in here. So we're gonna add just a little bit of adhesive, and we're gonna get him tucked in behind our snowdrift. So let's just do that. Pry up our cabin a little bit and tuck him in here. 1 tree. Oops, stay straight. All right, and then these guys, again, we're probably gonna have to cut them off to get them in behind our cabin and poke out all our bits. Now again, guys, this is normally something that I would have done already in preparation for my video, but clearly, clearly things are not going as planned today. So we'll just get rid of our bits. All right, there we go. So these guys are gonna tuck in behind here. Now we're gonna have to get a little bit creative. So did you know that the spatula end of your take your pick is wonderful for prying up pieces that are glued down that you need to stick trees in behind? So all I do is I take my spatula and I kind of slide it in and run it along, and it just breaks the seal of the adhesive. Now I can tuck my trees in there. Gonna have to cut them off a bit more. Let's trim this guy this way. So we're gonna tuck this guy in here. There we go. Look at Insta tree. We just planted a tree where there was none. All right, let's add a bit of glue here. And we're gonna slide him in behind our cabin. Just like that. He's a little taller than on my sample, but that's okay. And then this guy is gonna tuck in beside him. Again, we're gonna cut this off a little bit more and tuck him in there. So let's add a little bit more glue. There we go. And we'll tuck that in behind. There we go. There are our trees. Look at that. We saved it. Okay, back to regularly scheduled programming. All right, there we go. Now we're just gonna add our sentiment. Okay, so our sentiment is stamped just on a scrap of basic white cardstock. Okay, I'm glad, Deb. I'm glad I'm performing a public service by showing you how to fix mistakes. Whew, you know, some days you kind of go, what the heck? All right, so this is just a 1/2 inch strip of basic white cardstock. I'm going to stamp my wishing you the best in basic gray, and I'm going to move this right down because the way things are going, there is not a chance I'm going to get this straight. So we're just going to attempt. Oh, look at that. Maybe my luck is turning. I shouldn't say that, right? I probably just jinxed myself. And then we're going to bring in our tailored tag punch, and we're going to notch our ends. Now, if you don't have this punch, you need to get it, number 1. Number 2, you can always do this with your scissors. All right, you don't have to use this punch, but it's quicker and easier. So we're just gonna notch our ends. All right, there's our little banner. And we're going to adhere that to the front of our card using some dimensionals. As soon as I find them, they're buried. There they are. So we'll go 1 and 2. We'll pop those guys on. All right, and the nice thing about this DSP is the squares help you to get your stuff straight. It's rather nice that way. All right, and then we're going to tie just a quick little twine bow So I'm doing a double bow. So it's just a double thickness of gray baker's twine. I think this stuff is retired. But you know, it works. It matches my cards, so we're using it. That's my motto today. Whatever. Go with the flow, as Krista said. And that's not going to work. See, I can't tie bows today either. Here we go. So I have to say, if this is your first time watching, please know that this is not the norm. Some days you just, yeah, whatever. I'm almost afraid to make the fun fold card in a minute because, you know, that has the potential to go very, very wrong. But we'll try. What the heck? Can't be much worse than it already is, right? All right, so there is my little bow. We're actually going to tuck this guy. Actually, you know what? I've got enough space. I'm going to just tuck it on the corner of my banner there instead of tucking it underneath. So I'm just going to take a glue dot, roll it into a little glue bugger. I'm going to kind of plunk it where I want my bow to go. And then I'm just going to take and press the knot of my bow into my glue dot to adhere it. Okay, now the last little touch is to add a little hint of sparkle to the snow on my cabin. So I'm just taking my Wink of Stella and adding a little bit of shimmer and shine to my snowdrifts and the roof of my cabin. You won't be able to see this on the camera. It does not show up well, but you'll have to take my word for it. It's lovely and shiny. Okay, so there is our finished card minus the white layer. I have to say, I still like the white layer. And then on the inside of my sample, I added another basic white layer inside, stamped the cabin, and sentiment again. All right, so there is card number 2. After much trial and error, we got that one done. All right, and then our last card is this fun fold. So this is just a simple bridge fold card. They are not hard to make at all. They stand up and create a kind of fun little scene, but they also fold flat to fit in a standard envelope for mailing, okay, which is pretty awesome. So I'm going to show you how to make this. They're so easy. To start, I say they're so easy with the caution that today has not gone well. So buckle your seatbelts. It could be a bumpy ride. We're going to bring in our trimmer. I'm going to move my cutting blade far away so that we don't make that mistake. And to start, I have a piece of basic gray cardstock. It is 4 1/4 by 8 inches. So this is a little bit smaller than what we would normally start with as a card base. Okay, so 4 1/4 by 8. Thanks, Debbie. You won't tell them, right? All right, so now we're going to do a little bit of scoring. So I'm going to start with my long side at the top. I'm going to start at 1 1/4 inches. And score. Then I'm going to slide over to 2 1/2 inches. Score again. Over to 5 1/2 inches. And finally at 6 3/4. Okay, so I'll say those again. I will post the measurements later on in the video description. So 1 1/4, 2 1/2, 5 1/2, and 6 3/4. Okay, that's all there is to it. It's pretty straightforward as I break my my lamp. All right, so then we're going to do some scoring, or some folding rather. So the first fold, we're going to fold under. Okay, so it's folding under this way. The next one, we're folding over. Okay, so that's going to create our little front panel. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So the bottom one, we're folding under. The top one, we're folding over. Okay, so that ends up being our base. It's forming our little scene. Okay. All right, so far so good. Next, we have some DSP. This one started out as a 4 by 4 3/4 inch piece of designer series paper. Okay, then I cut a 1 inch strip, a 2 3/4 inch strip, and then another 1 inch. All right, and that's going to get glued onto our panels to create our scene. So we're going to add a little bit of glue here. I'm going to flatten this out to glue it. It's just easier that way. So we'll get that centered, nice equal borders on all 4 sides. And then we have our center panel. Thanks, Debbie, for keeping my secret. All right, we all make mistakes. We all have days, right? All right, so there is my center panel, hopefully relatively straight. And then this little guy is going to go on the right panel. So again, a little bit of glue, a little bit more down there. And we'll pop that on this panel. Again, centered. Okay, so that, once we get that back into position, creates our little backdrop. All right, this DSP is awesome for creating this kind of card, any kind of scene, right? So there is our backdrop. Now to add our cabin on the front, what I did is I started with a long piece of white cardstock. Now I'm using thick basic white here just because this is kind of a foundational piece in the design of the card, right? So you need this to be fairly strong. So I'm using the thick basic white. I went ahead and stamped my cabin and then die cut it using the dies. And the reason for that is I need this piece to be exactly 5.5 inches long. And it would be really, really challenging to get this cabin stamped in such a way as to end up with a piece that was exactly 5.5 inches long and have it work with the die. So by starting with a larger piece, I'm making my life a little bit easier. So I'm just gonna cut this off of my scrap here. Okay, and you'll see this is actually now, it's almost 6 inches long. Okay, so I'm going to bring in my trimmer and we're going to cut this down so that it's 5.5. Now I'm going to tidy up both ends of this little strip because I just used my snips to kind of rough cut it and it's not very straight. So there's one end and then I need 5.5 on the other end. Wow, this blade's really getting dull. It's time for a new one. All right, so that gives me my 5.5 inch piece that is going to run across the front of my card like that. Okay, now I'm not going to forget my trees this time. I have some right here. So again, these are die cut using the little tree dies. And we're going to go ahead and add some to our card. So this is going, our cabin piece is going to get glued right across the front so that the ends are flush with my little panels here. Okay, so this tree is going to tuck in behind. It's going to be nice and tall. So we're going to go ahead and glue that guy on. So we're going to pop him on. He's going to kind of be standing in front of this DSP tree. So we'll glue that guy on. And then we're going to have some actually glued to our bridge piece here. Okay, so we've got one tree there. We're going to glue one more sort of medium guy onto this end. So we'll add a little bit of glue to these guys. These guys do not take a lot of glue at all. So we're going to pop this one on here and hope that he's not going to be floating. Let's make sure he's actually going to be grounded. Yes, he is. Whoop, not if I push him up there, he won't. Okay, so to glue this piece on, we are only going to put glue on these two side panels. We are not going to put glue all the way across because we will not have a card that pops up. So we're going to add a little bit of seal to one end and a little bit of seal to the other. And then we are going to lay our cabin piece across the front. We want to make sure the bottom edges are flush. Okay, and you'll notice I'm squishing it flat because that is the way it's going to have to go to mail. All right, so you want to start with it flat to make sure that it's going to squish flat to fit in your envelope. Okay, so there is our little scene. And then we're just going to go ahead and add a couple more trees. So we're going to add a little silver tree to the left side. So we'll maybe put this guy here, right next to the cabin. Stick that down. We're going to add a tall one on this side. So again, just a little bit of glue. And we'll pop that guy on there. Press that into place. Now you totally do not need to add these die cuts. The DSP is so beautiful that it kind of just does all the work. You don't really even need these die cuts. But I want to showcase how beautiful these dies are. So there you go. You're getting excess trees. All right. And then this last little guy, we're going to add with a couple of minis. So we'll just grab one of our little half minis here. Pop it on there. Oh, my fingers are sticky. Everything's sticking to me. And then we'll add another little guy down here. And we'll get rid of our backings. Come on. Work with me. Little minis. All right, and then this little guy is just gonna kind of layer on here like that. Okay, so there is our scene. All that's left is to add our sentiment. So let's make some space and we will stamp our sentiment somewhere. I have a little label. This is die cut using the many messages dies, or the messages, it's just called messages, I believe. So we're going to stamp in black the for you on our label, and I'm just gonna make sure that this is straight. It's actually a little crooked, so we'll just kind of compensate there. And that is going to get glued, actually popped, onto the inside panel of our little scene here. So I'm just going to add a couple of dimensionals. And we're going to pop that just to sort of that upper, and I'm going to look at it this way for a minute to make sure it is straight. Let me put that on there. There we go. Okay. And then we can add a couple more sequins as soon as I figure out what I did with my package of sequins. There it is. So to add these sequins, they are not self-adhesive, right? So you need to add a little bit of glue. So all I do when I'm applying these sequins is I just put a little teensy, as soon as I get this to come out, drop of glue where I want my sequins to go. So I'm going to put one in sort of opposite corners and then one kind of down here. And then it's just a matter of taking the blue goo end of your take your pick and picking up your sequins and plunking them where you want them. Okay, so we'll add one here. Okay, so that's on top of that little bit of glue. And we'll add a big one down here. Oh, did I get a twofer there? Yep, I did. Don't want that one. I want the sort of brushed one. There we go. And then we want one little bitty one. So we'll grab that and plunk it right there. Okay, this tool, if you do not own this tool yet, you need to ask Santa to put one in your stocking because it is a game changer. It makes your life so much easier. Picking up these sequins with your fingers is a gigantic pain in the neck, okay? They stick to your fingers, they get staticky, it's just a gong show. Almost as much of a gong show as this video has been today, and I just noticed that that is really crooked. Oh well, whatever. Let's look at my actual sample, which looks much better. Now on the back is where you're going to add your basic white panel to write your message. Okay, I added some stamped trees and a thank you. So this is not a Christmas card. This is not intended to be a Christmas card. It could be an any season masculine thank you card. All right, you certainly could turn it into a Christmas card if you wanted to, but I wanted to show that this is a really versatile stamp set. All right, you guys, we made it. I didn't cause, you know, too much of a disaster. Let me pull in. I'll bring in the one that actually has the white background on that one. I did all right on my first card. Little did I know how terribly wrong this video would go. All right, you guys, there we go. We made it. We got through all three without, you know, any major disasters. And I hope you enjoyed these cards. Check out this suite. It is absolutely beautiful. So many possibilities with the stamps and dies, and the DSP is just to die for. So I hope you enjoyed these projects. I will see you again next week for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. Bye for now.